Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. My name is Tony from Custom PCs Australia. In this week's podcast, we're going to have a chat about two huge games, one old and one brand new one. We're also going to check out the Steam charts for August and give an update on our Game of the Year predictions. Joining us for today's chat is Sammy and Tegan, who you met in our last podcast. We also have Riley with us today, who's going to share his early thoughts on Starfield. Sammy, how have you been, mate? What have you been playing since our last catch-up?
I've sadly been playing RuneScape again.
Oh, you're back to RuneScape.
Back to RuneScape. I feel like I'm in 2004 again. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, right. So just mainly RuneScape, is it?
It's literally been RuneScape and a little bit of League on the side. Kind of in a lull land of gaming at the moment. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, right. Well, that's fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Teagues, what about you? What have you been playing?
Just the same. So like Valorant, Overwatch, but I have started playing League, which I said I'd never touch.
Yes, I do recall. Just give me a moment here, Tegan. Let's have a listen to something.
At the moment, I'm finding I've jumped back into League of Legends. God,
actually, Tegan, did you say you played League of Legends, Tegan?
I don't know if I can say this here, but that's the one game I will never touch.
Oh,
all right. So, Teagues, that was from our last podcast. So, you've been playing a bit of League.
Yeah, I've been roped into it by my friends.
Right, okay. We will talk a bit more about League later, so we'll get your thoughts on that one. Riley, welcome to you, mate. First time to the podcast.
Yeah, g'day, man. Pleased to be here.
Oh, I'm glad you're pleased to be here. Tell us a bit about yourself. What sort of games are you playing? What sort of systems do you play on?
So I play... Well, at the moment, I'm playing on PC a lot, but I used to be a bit of a console dweeb until recently. I got converted.
Right. Who converted you, Riley? How did you convert?
Well, to be honest, Starfield converted me. I was just really keen to get into playing Starfield, and I didn't have an Xbox, so PC seemed like the natural step.
Yes.
Yeah, for the longest time, for me, it'd been PS5 and Switch. So, big move, but I'm glad I made it.
All right, so how are you finding the PC life?
Oh, it's good. Love the freedom. Got plenty of stuff downloaded. Only booted up about 2 games since I got the PC, but, I've got the options there.
It's good to have options.
Yeah. Looking forward to experimenting around with it.
Right, sounds good, Riley. So I suppose just start off, we're going to have a chat about Starfield, one of the biggest releases in recent memory. Starfield was announced back in 2018, touted as a space RPG to end them all. Being Bethesda's first new IP in 29 years, the game has drawn massive interest and promises players 1,000 planets to explore. So, can it live up to the hype? I'm going to give my impressions. Now, be prepared, guys, for a bit of a long journey here. Now, when I first loaded up Starfield, I had pretty mixed feelings after a couple of hours play, and I think that was more due to my own expectations. I was thinking No Man's Sky with Bethesda RPG elements. It sort of turns out it bears no resemblance to No Man's Sky. At first, I found it really constricting, not being able to sort of just fly anywhere I wanted and into a planet's atmosphere and sort of landing wherever you want that way. Button prompts to go to those places, I just wasn't expecting that. After a little while, more I thought about it, though, my time in No Man's Sky, a lot of it, flying, is really just trying to get to planets faster, and being annoyed by the time it could sometimes take to get to those planets. And I did start to like the immediacy of going straight to an area that I needed to go to. It became better when I did work out you didn't have to actually go to your ship, head to the cockpit, launch, then fast travel once you're in space. You can literally fast travel to anywhere you have discovered. So I did sort of start to enjoy that side of it. How do you feel on that, Riley? I know you've played a fair bit.
Yeah, I think so far I've clocked in about 25 hours since the release.
Yeah, I think I'm similar too. Yep.
I definitely agree with your initial sentiment at first. Definitely felt really constricted by the game.
Yep.
I didn't have much time in No Man's Sky, but yeah, just the enjoyment of the freedom of being able to hop in your ship and fly wherever you want was something I definitely initially missed in Starfield.
Yep.
But I've sort of found myself falling into the traditional Bethesda loop of questing and traveling to and from the quest givers and just completing dungeons. And that I've found to be really enjoyable, and that's where I find the stronger points of the game to be.
Yep.
So it might not be like the be-all, end-all space game that some people were hyping it up to be, but I think at what it's trying to do, it delivers.
Yep.
It's just maybe not as evolved of a game that people were thinking it could be.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, once I'd done a few missions, I really started to get into it. I found the characters interesting. The story, I haven't done much of the story, but what I had done was keeping me interested. After I reckon I've done maybe 3 main story quests. But at that point, I was walking around the city. I think I was just going to some shops or something, and I saw this little robot trash can wheeling around, and I thought I'd just shoot it. I just pulled out the gun and just fired it, see what would happen. Now, as soon as that happened, I pretty much got accosted by a group of, for want of a better term, police, telling me I can't find my weapons in the city and I should go with them. So initially I decided to kill them, the police, instead of going with them. So that then led to security coming from everywhere. So I jumped in my ship, headed off. Then I had interceptors come after me, and I eventually, got blown up. When I came back, I basically went into the police station and gave myself up. From there, I was taken to a prison ship. I was then given a choice, which was to help out the guard or face prison for my crimes. I chose to help out, and this led me on a mission to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet, who in the game are some of the nastiest pirates around. As part of this side quest, I've visited planets, explored bunkers under ice, foiled mutiny plans, gained the trust of the head of the Crimson Fleet, attended a gala ball on a massive space cruiser, stole one of the most valuable awards in Starfield. I'm still on this side quest 4 days later, and there's no end in sight to it. Like, it really could be its own game entirely. There are heaps of quests like this in the game. It's pretty staggering that I've put so much time in, and I literally just haven't really done any of the main story. Where are you at story-wise?
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to hear. Like, you've done so much, and I haven't done a single bit of that at all.
Yeah.
So I've done maybe a couple more missions in the main story than you, I think. I sort of reached a pivotal point in the main story, and I decided that I'd veer off from it for a bit and try some exploration. So I got a side quest that led me to I forget what the planet's called, but the city of Neon.
Yeah.
So I went to this city. It's like a cyberpunk kind of city. So it really reminded me of Cyberpunk 2077, the aesthetic there. And I joined Ryujin Industries, which is a faction in the game, and proceeded to do a bunch of corporate espionage style missions, sneaking into opposing factions, hideouts or opposing companies, and planting bugs and hacking into their systems. A lot of persuasion checks throughout the faction quests there, and it was really fun. It really fitted with my build, which was mostly based around stealth, security, and diplomacy. So I've been having a lot of fun with that quest line. You ventured off a little bit into some space exploration but I've barely touched the surface of shipbuilding or outpost building. I'm mostly focusing on questing and combat. But I will say I've really got into it the past couple of hours especially.
Yeah, in regards to base building, I've given that a small go. It's seamless. It works really well. I've only built a hab and basically a few mining, a bit of mining equipment, but there's a lot of available blocks to choose from, and I'm sure in the future that's going to be expanded upon as well. But yeah, I've enjoyed the outpost. You can man the outpost with some characters that you meet in the game. But yeah, that part of it's good. Character creator at the start of the game, I felt it was pretty in depth. If I had any artistic skills, I felt like I could create any type of person that I wanted to.
Yeah.
Did you find it pretty good, aside from the pronoun thing, which we probably don't want to talk about? But the character, I felt it was a good system. Yeah, what did you think of the character creator?
I like the creator. I tried to make myself. I always like to try and do that on the first run through of a Bethesda game, and
Yep.
I felt like I could almost do that. A slightly more polygon version of myself. What traits did you pick? That's what I'm most interested in.
Traits. Sorry, are you talking about the?
So at the end of character creation, you got an option to pick a background, which gives you a couple of skills, and then you could pick some traits, which gave you like pros and cons.
I have completely forgotten what I chose, Riley.
I'll tell you what I chose. I chose the wanted trait, which means I do extra damage when I'm low on health, but I constantly have some bounty hunters after me trying to collect my head because I'm wanted.
I do remember seeing that one. That probably would have been a good one to choose, actually.
Yeah, and the other big one I got was it's called Kid Stuff, and it gives me parents, which is nice. So my parents check in with me time to time, and I only have to pay a small fee.
I still find that funny.
To my parents, yeah.
Pay a fee to have parents.
Yeah, it's a bit backwards, but times are tough in Starfield.
Oh yeah, everywhere. One of the things I think that's always really cool about Bethesda games is that they allow full access for mods or modders.
Yeah,
the game's
very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, the game's it literally came out a week ago, and there's also already some really cool mods available. They have brought out a performance optimization. These are available through Nexus Mods. But yeah, look, there's been a lot of reports of people struggling to run the game. A good card like a 3070, you're probably hitting 60 frames at medium to high settings. But yeah, everyone's having different outcomes from their hardware. Do you sort of know what sort of frames you're getting on your PC?
Yeah, so I was displaying the frame count the first couple of hours I played the game, and I tested around with high to ultra settings because I don't need to play a Bethesda game at high FPS. But I figured high was good for me, and I was getting about a steady 60. Sort of fluctuates depending on what environment I'm in the game.
Yeah, and 2K?
At 2K, yes.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm actually quite impressed with how my system's handling it. So I've got a 3070, and yeah, I'm having no issues at all.
Yeah, probably due to the fact that you had a really good place build it for you, mate. That's
that might have something to do with it.
That's probably why it's running so well.
Yeah, well, no complaints on that part for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for a lot of people, they are sort of having, or frame drops. 20 frames, 50 frames, even on pretty decent hardware. But they have released a mod that is making things run a lot smoother. So yeah, that's one of the mods available. Another one, achievement enabler. So if you ever go into the console and put in any sort of codes, it'll normally disable your achievements.
Ooh,
on
that's really
Steam.
handy.
Yeah, so basically you can still run console commands and get your achievements. Now, funnily enough, it came out with no FOV slider.
Yeah.
So there is now a mod for an FOV slider. So that's a good one. There is also one called Cleanfield, which dumps the game's opening video, cleans up the main menu.
Oh yeah.
Now, better HUD. So I'll actually talk about this in my cons section, but the UI in the game, I feel
Could use some work.
could use some work. Yeah. But yeah, there is a mod that makes a heap of improvements to the UI. Enhanced player health bar. Health bar seems to be pretty hard to see, especially when you're in battle. So another mod there. Ship builder tweaks. Funnily enough, Vasco paint job, but make it hentai.
Oh,
Another
Saw
mod
that.
there.
man.
I don't know what's going on there. Custom characters, Ryan Gosling, George Costanza, available to be put in the game by people that can actually have some
Model.
artistry about them. Yeah.
Wow.
And
These
there is a
Nexus
mod.
models, they're creative.
Yeah. There is a mod that removes portraits that feature Starfield game director Todd Howard.
No way he put himself into the game.
Oh, it's so good.
Apparently, there's a few portraits of Todd Howard in the game, so they've made a mod to get rid of them.
I saw a mod that changes your flashlight into the game, into the face of Phil Spencer, a game producer, which was a funny one I came across.
Yeah, and look, we're just at the very beginning. There's obviously going to be a lot more mods, and you look at something like Skyrim and what mods can do to that game today.
Yeah, that's definitely a great thing about Bethesda games is mods give them life for decades.
Yeah, absolutely. Gunplay, I feel the gunplay, I think they've taken maybe some, I suppose they've looked at maybe some shooters and copied some of the movement. I feel it's probably the best Bethesda's ever produced in terms of gunplay.
For sure. Agreed.
Yeah. Weapon variety seems to be pretty good, given that, you can find modified versions of the available guns.
It's okay, but I do miss the customization of your weapons that's available in Fallout 4, where you could add and remove attachments on every weapon. There is some of that here, but I would say it is missed.
Yeah, it's not the same. But I'm finding the gunplay to be very, very good for a Bethesda RPG. The planets that I've explored, and look, probably not that many because I've been busy doing this side quest, but I feel that they feel different. The gravity is different on each one. I know there's been big complaints about the tile system that they used in the game. I've never run into a boundary, and that was one of the biggest complaints. But they were from people who were spending 15 minutes running a straight line. And look, I certainly haven't had cause to do that, and I haven't come across, a restricting boundary anywhere. So to me, that's probably not a valid.
Yeah, I do feel like that's something you'll only come across if you're really looking for that limit.
Yeah,
I think the game doesn't encourage that kind of behavior. Land randomly in the middle of a planet and run for 30 minutes aimlessly. It's not really what the game's telling you to do, but you can do it if you'd like to.
That's right.
But the content's mostly based on those more populated areas of planets, and the questing is where most of the content is, I think.
Yeah, that's right. You haven't tried shipbuilding yet?
Very little. I gave my ship a paint job to try and make it look like an X-Wing. But other than that, no, not really. I found a really nice ship early on because I did a quest line that gave me a ship. and that's just carried me through the game so far. So
That's the A class from that secret quest at the start.
yes, the ship's called the Razorleaf. It's from a quest called Mantis, I think.
Yes, it is. Yep. I haven't done that quest yet. I do plan on doing it though.
Oh yeah, definitely got a lot of handy gear from that too. I'm wearing like most of the armor set from that still. Hours later. Yeah.
Soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. I feel that it really captures space exploration really well. When I'm working on computers in the workshop, I'll have it, running on Spotify in the background. I really like the soundtrack and the feel that it gives to the game. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's definitely really immersive. The vibes are very Blade Runner, very sci-fi. They've done well. They've always been really good at soundtrack at Bethesda. I love the Skyrim soundtrack, and it's such a different, direction with Starfield, but I think they really nailed it. I agree.
Yeah. Tegan, I know you haven't played Starfield at all. You probably haven't seen much on it.
Yeah, I haven't at all, if I'm going to be honest.
No. And Sam, what about you?
I've watched probably 4 to 5 hours of it on Twitch and YouTube and blah, blah, blah. Same as you going into it, thinking it'd be like No Man's Sky, expecting there to be, they said explore thousands of planets and go in and out as you will and move anywhere you want, and you're going to lose yourself, and you're going to jack into Starfield, and you're never going to want to go back to planet Earth. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not that. It's not.
Yeah, look, I do think maybe they did over promise. On what was eventually delivered. Riley, have you seen Earth in the game?
No, I went outside Earth and I saw how barren it looked, and there was nowhere to land, and I was like, I'm just gonna turn around and go where the game's telling me to go, because it doesn't look like there's much to do over there.
Yeah, so Earth is dead.
Is it?
Yeah, it's I think the year in the game is 23 something, 2320, something like that. And they do explain it. I believe it's in a later mission, which I haven't done yet. But yeah, if you go down to Earth, it's very barren. You can see apparently some remnants of some landmarks, but it's all very grey and it's pretty much a dead planet.
Yeah, I did see somewhere online that it's convenient, but the only remnants of Earth are a few like popular landmarks.
Yeah, it's pretty much it. Ship combat, I feel, is better. Look, I can only compare to No Man's Sky, but I feel like it feels a lot better than No Man's Sky, in my opinion.
Yep. Have you got the targeting system on your ship?
Yeah.
Did you get that skill? Definitely brings it up to the next level.
Well, yeah, I'm still only running on the first ship. So, yeah, maybe not as advanced as yours, but I found the lock-ons really tight. Doesn't feel like there's any sort of cheap things that might happen like in No Man's Sky sometimes. And I feel like the sense of scale in space beats No Man's Sky. It's a different feeling and a real different sense of scale. It just feels really impressive to me. Your thoughts, Riley?
Yeah, there's a lot of intricacy to it that, I mean, I haven't got much experience with No Man's Sky, so I can't really compare it, especially with things like ship battle. But I have enjoyed, like, I found it very challenging at first, specifically fighting with other pirate ships. Like, I came across early on bounty hunters coming after me because of my background, and trying to deal with them. I think it was a group of 3 ships, which just proved impossible, and I had to reload to an earlier save. But now that I've got those upgrades and I started experimenting with the targeting system, now I can specifically stall the enemy ships, and then I can board them and take out the captain and even commandeer the ship.
Yep.
Which I found to be quite intuitive, and I really enjoyed that. Until that I commandeered a ship and tried to land it on a friendly planet, but got caught by the police for accidentally smuggling in some contraband.
The old contraband.
On the ship. So that was my first experience with that new system, which
Yeah.
I haven't really played around with, but it seems really interesting. I'm actually, it's like another level to the whole drug use they've always had in Bethesda games that you might explore later on.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. The other, I suppose, concern that has been raised is loading screens.
Yeah, that's insane, those.
Yeah, look, I mean, there's a lot of people complaining about it. And look, probably for me, I'm on a Gen 4 NVMe drive, which I think you are too, Riley.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, it's not noticeable for me. It's
No, you're never in for a loading screen longer than 5 seconds.
well, yeah, it's things happen very quickly. I just haven't had that issue that other people have. You know, they're probably running off Gen 3s or SATA SSDs, or even, well, I suppose it won't really run on a HDD very well, but
they have set the minimum requirements for being an SSD, so
yeah, although
they're not running it.
Funnily enough, I have seen someone running it on a HDD.
How'd that go for them?
Yeah, it's pretty choppy.
It's been a week and they're still waiting to get into the game, or
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
No, it just doesn't run very well on a HDD. But to be fair, they told everyone, an SSD is a requirement. But I think most people are still running off Gen 3s. And they probably find the load times are a lot longer for them. I'm running it on a 2070 Super. I am
Feel
stuck
fine?
Hey?
Does it feel fine on that? Because that's what I've got.
Yes. I am at medium settings.
Mm-hmm.
If I tried to push it to high, it doesn't handle movement very well. The frame rate tanks a bit once you move around. So I'm happy at medium. 2070 Super, that's, obviously probably a 2-generation old card now. But I'm pretty happy with how it runs. I sort of get between 50 and 60 frames per second at medium, and that's all I can ask at 2K resolution. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, just onto some, I suppose, bad things or things that I don't like.
Bring it on.
Yeah, so number one. Now, I don't know if you've done this at all, Riley, but when you go to a planet, a bit like No Man's Sky, you can survey it. And the idea is to find all the flora, fauna, minerals, that sort of thing on the planet. In No Man's Sky, you literally bring up your, what do you call it? Your, help me out, Sam.
Wait, what are you doing? Sorry?
Your scanner, that's all right. Bring out your scanner and, from a long, long distance away, you can scan in things and, you just need to do it once and it's discovered. Here, it's 10 to 20 times for each different flora or fauna you have to discover. You've got to scan it that many times.
Yeah, it's a bit tedious. I don't see the reason behind it.
Yeah, it's too much. Just once. And the other thing is the scan distance. Like, you have to be within a few meters of it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
I've recently found out that harvesting or killing animals counts towards a discovery, so that does ease it a little bit, but it's still, in my opinion, that shouldn't be in the game. And I really hope that they patch that out of it.
Yeah, it should almost be a toggle scanner rather than a constant pulsing sort of situation.
Well, you can have your scanner on permanently, but it does get in the way of a few things. Like, you can't talk to
That's where the hard
NPCs
stuff you were talking about before comes into play. It's ridiculous. So that's why, what's stopping you from doing that if you had a scan? It's there's so many little tweaks that this game needs to be doing the right. I mean, No Man's Sky is almost 10 years old.
Yeah, and that's had a lot of time.
It's had a lot of time. And look, my first review, and that was like within the first 48 hours of the game, it's the size of an ocean with the depth of a puddle. There's so much with nothing to do.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah.
And look how they turned all that around. The game has got probably the greatest redeeming arc of any game ever. And this has had plenty of time to look at that did. Look at what their Fallout 76 and Fallout 4 and previous, and Skyrim did, and improve on that. And it doesn't feel like they've done that. It's the exact same Bethesda experience, just in space.
I 100% agree with that. I think instead of trying to innovate on their formula, they've tried to refine the same formula and just execute it a bit better. Less buggy. Like, it's definitely had the least buggy launch of any
that I can
Bethesda game.
agree with. Yes.
Graphically, considering the engine they're still running it on, which is severely outdated, the graphically, it's doing quite well, I would say. But that engine, man, oh god, I reckon we got to talk about the Bethesda engine, because I feel like I'm playing Oblivion back in 2006 because characters' facial expressions.
Riley.
Oh, the character facial expressions, man.
When there's an emotional moment, you just can't connect with it, because all they do is raise an eyebrow or give you a slight nod. There's no emotion behind it, despite the great voice acting. It's just it really hinders the game. I think that old outdated engine.
Do we know if they're moving to Unreal Engine for Elder Scrolls 6?
I don't know.
That's been confirmed.
I know that they're really focusing on Elder Scrolls 6 now. I did hear that news, but don't know what engine.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, because I think it's really showing its age, the engine on this one.
It's holding all their IP back, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if we look at what Baldur's Gate did, that is an incredible... Yes, it's a slightly different game, how it's top-down and you're controlling characters click by click, but if Starfield, if Bethesda in general could do that sort of character interaction that they've got, plus have their RPG elements and their regular discovery situation going, they've got a game.
Yep, for sure. I'm pretty sure regarding Baldur's Gate 3, the director Sven Vinke said that he developed a engine for Baldur's Gate 3, and then when they realized they couldn't achieve what they wanted to achieve, they reinvented that engine again halfway through development.
Pretty much. They actually lost the rights to it for a while there. So, but you're on, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the other thing to remember is Bethesda started this game 5 years ago. So the engine obviously wasn't as old then, and I don't think Unreal Engine 5 was out then. So maybe they felt that was the best way to move forward. But yeah, I sincerely hope that they look to get a bit more modern with Elder Scrolls 6, but we'll find out. With scan distance, the other thing that sort of relates to that is character conversation distance. Sometimes you have to be right up on someone to be able to start the conversation with them. Sometimes you even have to go around the back of a desk to actually go right next to them to start the conversation. So yeah, just little things like that could be improved. Inventory management, juggling act.
Shocking. The carrying capacity is just... Why did they decide on such a small carrying capacity? I feel like I'm constantly dropping new spacesuits and weapons or sending them to my companion or to my ship. It's just a micromanagement hassle the whole time.
Yeah, look, can be mitigated slightly through spacesuit bonuses, skill point allocations, and utilizing storage areas at your home base and on the ship. When you're over the limit, if you're just over the limit, you can't fast travel. You can't run for very long. It's really tiresome, to be honest.
It's just one of those mechanics I think, again, is a bit outdated.
It's
not a lot of fun to be found with figuring out how to manage your inventory. It's not something I want to worry about when I'm playing.
Yeah, I just think concentrate on the fun. Don't make it a chore.
Yep.
So yeah, I do think that that will get worked on. So I'm sure they've heard the feedback on that.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, in a game where you want to pick up literally everything you see, yeah. I mean, their games have always been hoarding simulators. You just want to pick up everything and sell it and get gold and get
500 cheese wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only in your house. Yeah. Do you mind if I chime in with my number one criticism of the game?
I do not mind at all, Riley. Go ahead.
The map. Or lack thereof.
That's horrible.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? That's
Where-
like a group
what
of
were they
dots.
thinking? What were they thinking? No town map, no city map at all. Just leaving me to, I guess, try and figure out where I have to go. But just the fact that there's so many different cities and planets in this game, it's impossible to remember.
Yeah, and also knowing where the different shops are. You know, if you
Yeah.
had a map that said, you know, clothes shop, this shop, that shop, but you don't. You've got to.
You got to just trial and error and just wander around until you stumble across it and try and remember. Otherwise,
Yes.
I mean,
Very
you'd
unusual decision.
You'd think that far in the future they'd have some form of Google Maps, right? Like,
exactly.
honestly, come
They
on.
move backwards. Oh.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was left on Earth, Sam. Yeah,
Maybe it
200
was.
years ago.
in a
Maybe
hurry,
Google
I
went
heard.
down with the ship.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, Riley. It's that is a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
The mission indicator, I find, while it's okay, it can be really confusing. Sometimes I'll spend 10 minutes just actually trying to find where this mission indicator is telling me to go.
Mm-hmm.
I see sometimes when I bring my scanner up, it brings like a path on the ground.
Yes.
But that doesn't always seem to work. Sometimes it's there, most times it's not. So just another thing that they really need to get on top of, because there doesn't seem to be an up down. You know, you need to go up, you need to go down. It's just quite painful to me.
Something Nexus mods will fix soon enough.
I'm sure Nexus will fix it. Ammo economy. I am always out of ammo. Even though I haven't got into sort of that many fights, given this side quest has been more about stealth and persuasion. But when I do, I can't even find my weapons sometimes, you know, and I've got so many different weapons, but there's never any ammo for them. So I find that really frustrating. I'm sure I can, you know, if I had a map, I could probably find a shop where I could buy ammo. But how have you been going with that? Is it just me? Is it?
No, it's not just you. I've got about 10 weapons, you know, or actually I've got 9 because I've got them all on the hotbar. And I'm constantly switching between them because there's like 15 different ammo types. So it's always spread thin and you're constantly switching, which I don't mind because I don't mind the weapon variety. But yeah, it was the same in Fallout. My trick to it is to always pick up the weapon with the highest damage per bullet. So you don't have to worry about, you know, finding lots of ammo for the high fire rate weapons because it just becomes a big pain. Yeah,
it does. Or even maybe a system like Destiny where you have primary and special ammo, but that ammo can be used in any primary weapon.
Yes, that would be good.
Yeah, that would also work really well because, I mean, the game, it is a shooter. You know, I know it's an RPG, but, you know, there is a lot of...
Tarkov.
But, yeah, I don't know. Just where's the fun in not having any bullets to shoot?
Agreed.
Yeah. They're about my negatives. Have you got anything to add on the negative side of things, Riley?
Not strictly negative, but the persuasion minigame, it's a bit weird.
Don't like?
I'm not entirely sold on it because I've spec'd my character into full persuasion because I like to be able to get the best reward for the mission or whatever, which persuasion is normally the way to go. But I find that when I pick an option in persuasion, it's like 50-50, whether it's going to just succeed. Just doesn't matter which one I pick. Doesn't matter if it's red, orange, or green. It just feels entirely random to me. So
you're right. It feels random. You're right. It doesn't feel like it doesn't really matter what you say. You don't really get a response that lets you feel like you're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something. Like, they didn't used to have a mini game, I don't think, for persuasion, not since Oblivion. But it's just a bit weird. I don't love it, don't hate it.
Yeah. No, with you on that one. Any other negatives?
I think that's about it. All the major ones have been said. That's about it.
Any positives that I didn't cover?
I think this type of game that's sort of made for me. I love RPGs, especially love Bethesda RPGs. Skyrim might just be my favorite game of all time.
Yep.
So I'm just really enjoying the questing. I'd say the quests are well designed. They're not boring. There's so much different stuff to do in the game. While you can't explore infinite planets, it does feel like there's infinite quests. You just walk through a town and you'll just get random NPCs coming up to you offering you quests, and they're never boring.
Yeah, it's a depth of those quests, like it's crazy.
It's not just a fetch quest. There's different shades of grey when it comes to quests. There's no it's not cookie cutter. So yeah, I've been really enjoying questing. That's definitely my number one thing about the game.
Yeah, too easy. So for me, overall, I would recommend Starfield. I think it's a great game. I reckon if I had to give it a rating, I'm going to go 8 out of 10.
I'm right with you there. 8 out of 10 for me so far as well.
Yeah. Sammy, anything to add, or Tegan?
Not really myself. You've pretty much touched on most of it.
Yeah.
There's just it. I wanted more. It hasn't provided that. I will not be buying.
You don't have to buy it, Sammy. You can get it for free on Game Pass.
That is true. You know what? I'm not going to spend my storage space on it then. How's that?
That is brutal.
How big is the game? Do we know?
It's 120 something gigabytes.
Oh yeah, no, I'm good.
He's gonna be playing it after this, and then you'll have a clip of that.
Ooh.
I will clip that. Don't you worry, Tegan.
I sense a bit of a grudge.
It all comes back.
Come on, that was funny, Teags.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, that sort of wraps up our Starfield chat. I'll just move on to Steam in August and what sort of games did well. So top selling games on Steam in August. Sorry. Anyone want to have a guess at the games that are in the top 10?
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate is number 2.
What
do you mean number 2? Hold on. What are we judging on here?
Top 10 selling games on Steam in August.
I thought
there's no shot. Baldur's Gate is number 2. It has to be number 1.
That's where it is.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm lost at what number 1 would be then in that case.
Really? Not one that we've just been talking about for a long time?
Starfield.
Absolutely no shot Starfield has oversold Baldur's Gate.
In August?
It has in August, yep. The pre-orders were outselling everything on Starfield.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I'm still not sold, but fair enough. That's insane.
Yeah, this is Steam's Steam stats here, so they're literally taken from Steam.
Yeah. It is a generation-defining RPG is what they call it. There was lots of people buying PCs and consoles for it. Hey, even if it...
Don't you listen to Sam, Riley. I'm with you.
The hype leading up to the game definitely had big influence on those numbers.
Yeah, it definitely did. Any other one want to guess any other sort of games in the top 10?
The top 10.
Top 10.
What
is that like newer games, or would that be
literally anything that's ever been on Steam? So just
I want to say CS:GO again.
Number 3.
Okay, yeah.
You did. I think you got that one last
yeah.
time.
It's always there, isn't it?
It is.
Classic.
Okay. I know a lot of people have been playing PUBG again.
No PUBG.
Okay.
What I was going to throw in there, that robot game. I was watching it and thought it looked really interesting.
Armored Core?
Armored Core, thank you. I was going to say something along the lines of Gundam, but yeah.
Yeah, number 6. Number 6, Armored Core.
I would recommend it.
Oh, you got it, did you?
On PlayStation. And really like it. It's really simple. It's just mission based. You go out, you design your own mech. So many options. You can make a tank. You can make 4-legged, 2-legged. It's really fun. It's got those Souls-like elements I know you love, Sam. But it's also got a lot of different stuff in it too, like a lot of shooter elements that make it really fun.
Yeah, looks fun, high-paced action sort of thing. Robots smashing robots. We love that.
Pretty much. Can't go wrong.
Titanfall. Titanfall 2.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
$3
biggest
at the
tragedy.
moment. Titanfall 2. $3.
Is it? It's almost... Honestly, it's almost... Wait, this is Titanfall 2, sorry.
Yep.
Oh, that story is worth that, honestly. What a story that was.
Great story, isn't it?
It
Worth
was.
$3?
100%.
It's worth $3, yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out.
It's one of the greatest travesties. That one. The whole Titanfall range. It really is.
Yeah, the multiplayer was pretty awesome in it too. By the time I got to it, though, it was dead. You know, it's very hard to actually get a game. But yeah, no, Titanfall, $3 is a bit of a bargain, I would say.
100%.
Number 4, we've got Rainbow Six Siege.
Of course.
That's making its
Makes
comeback.
Yeah. Number 5 is Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 is Dead by Daylight Alien Chapter Pack. Number 8 is Return of Destiny 2. I think that's probably due to the new raid that came out. Yeah. Sea of Stars number 9 and Sunken Land number 10.
Heard good things about Sea of Stars. It's free on Game Pass as well.
Don't know much about that one.
It's kind of like a JRPG, like your Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy VI.
Okay.
More of a old school RPG sort of vibe. Haven't played it, but heard really good things.
Yeah, well, I've heard the same thing with Sunken Land.
Yeah, someone was talking to me today about Sunken Land. But,
one of our co-workers has been playing quite a lot of it lately. And it's very much just a survival game where the planet has flooded.
Right.
Oh,
a raft? Yeah. Like Raft a bit?
Imagine Raft, but you're not stuck on a raft. You can go between islands. You can go diving and into underwater cities and try and find whatever it is you need to find in old buildings that are underwater, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've seen a bit of them playing that, and it looks fun.
It does. It's got to cook a little bit. It's still early in I think it's this dev team's first game or something like that. So let them cook for a little while, and I'm sure that'll be pretty damn good.
It reminded me a lot of Sons of the Forest.
Yes.
Which I've been meaning to get.
Apparently the AI is brutal in it. So if you want a challenge, I believe it is that.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the top 10 games on Steam. Now just a quick look at the most played games on Steam for August. Number 1, Counter-Strike Global Offensive is number 1 with a daily average of 1.1 million players.
Mm-hmm.
It's still going nuts. It's just never going to die, that game, is it? Even when the second one comes out, it'll still be at number 1.
Yeah, the second one's in beta now, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's in beta. Dota 2 at 555,000 daily players.
It's dipped a little bit, that one, because do not believe everyone's super happy with the latest update for that.
Yeah, right, okay. Number 3 is PUBG, 312,000 players per day.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny, here's Baldur's Gate, which I thought everyone was playing, but that's had an average of $287,000 players per day.
That's still huge for that type of game.
It has been out for close to a month. It's a single player game.
It peaked at 500,000 players in a day. So yeah, look, it certainly had a lot of players.
When you consider it's up against a lot of shooters, multiplayer games strictly, it's doing
true. Apex Legends number 5 at 260,000 players.
Heard that's been doing quite well.
Yeah, that's just been going for a while, hasn't it? Apex?
Another game that will never die.
Yeah. Naraka Blade Point number 6, 160,000 players per day. Number 7 is Wallpaper Engine.
Oh my god.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess
139,000 players per day. GTA 5 at 126,000 per day.
Another game that will never die.
Yeah, that has been going for a long time.
We've got a rumor of GTA 6's price? Did
Oh,
you guys hear about that today?
I did hear about that. Someone was talking to me about that today, and it's
150, was it?
$150.
What?
Like they didn't make enough money on the first one in its pre-orders. Now they're going to try and gouge everyone from extra $50 Australian. Oof.
Yeah. Think about all the shark cards they sold with GTA 5. Like
those guys can live happy forever.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Greedy bastards.
Classic.
Yeah, well, that's still getting a lot of players anyway. Armored Core was number 9 with 87,000 daily players.
Oh, yeah.
Then Team Fortress 2 and Rust, and that rounds it out.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
So
I've just actually had a look on the Steam charts as well, and funnily enough, we've just talked about it. In the last 24 hours, Titanfall 2 is at a 300% increase. It's up to a current of 20,000 players.
Yeah, that's probably due to the $3 price point.
It must be. Worth it. Jump on it.
It's so good for $3. If you haven't got it, jump on it.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're just going to have Sammy and Tegan have a bit of a talk. I'm going to throw to you, Sammy, because you know a lot more about this than I do. But I know you've been getting into a mode of League of Legends called ARAMs.
Correct. Yes.
Which stands for all random, all mid. There you go.
Yep. Everyone go mid, and it's your characters are randomized, so you don't get a choice unless you want to swap with someone, and they allow you to play Lee Sin. But yes, it's a good fun mode. How are you finding it at the moment, Tegan? Because I know that you're new to League completely. It must be a bit of a jump.
I prefer just your normal League, to be honest. But yeah, I'm still getting used to it all, so I'm not quite sure if I do have a preference.
That's fair.
Because you started ARAMs, didn't you? That's what got you into League.
No, I just started playing normally with some mates.
Right.
To be honest, I've only played ARAMs probably 2 times, and it was stressful.
It is, isn't it? It's crazy stressful.
It's just a lot going on.
See, the difference between like your regular style game and your ARAMs is you've got a lot of time to stay in your lane, farm up some money, try not to die, maybe get a few kills. But ARAMs, it's like 5v5, you're face tanking, you're killing or you're dying.
Yeah, you just get in there and have to play.
Yeah. That's it. And so have you played many normal games so far?
Yeah, I've played a few. I'm still getting used to the different positions and trying to find what I prefer the most.
All right.
And quite honestly, I'm not good at the game.
No, you know what? No one's good. Unless you're a pro, you're probably not that good at the game, to be honest with you.
Yeah. My friends, like, playing with my friends is a lot different because they're all quite high ranks.
Okay.
So obviously I'm playing with their skill level, so it's not kind of good to jump straight into that.
Yeah, generally, like, I would call myself fresh. I've only been playing for a year, maybe year and a half, and most of the other guys that I've played with in a normal game have made what they call a Smurf account, which brings them back to one, and they can, start playing a fresh account with me. But they're throwing you in the deep end with that one, aren't they?
That's how I started with every game I've played, though, because I only started playing games last year. So, and it was Valorant. And
it is Valorant, yeah.
It was with my friends that were all like platinum or diamond.
Oh.
So I kind of just had to jump in the deep end and like learn as I go. And that's the same with me with League right now. And I know, like, I do dumb stuff in the game where I know they'd yell at someone typically, but because it's me, they just let it slide. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, unless it's a random, they'll call you out because it's probably one of the most toxic games you can play. One of the most toxic.
Yes. That's why I said I'd never touch it.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. I'm surprised you did, to be honest with you. But Tony has called you out on that one.
Tony.
Sorry, it was just very funny.
And Has anyone here watched Arcane at all?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. No, Tony.
No.
Okay, well, this is going to be a fresh one for you then. So, Riley, what were your thoughts on Arcane?
They're not so fresh because that show came out maybe 2 years ago.
2021. Yep.
Yeah.
It's old now.
But when it came out, I was totally enthralled by it. Probably watched it in 2 days. Oh no, it came out as 3-parters, didn't it? I watched it as soon as it came out, you know. And it's such a great story. I know nothing about League, never played it. So it didn't depend on me knowing anything about League for me to enjoy it. It's just great characters, great direction, great art styles.
That's it. Hence why I thought I'd ask you, because I know you haven't played League just because you haven't had a PC to play it on. But
yeah, that might change soon.
Well, yeah, exactly. Hey, you're going to get in some ARAMs with us, hey?
I won't say I won't do it, because then it might come back to bite me in the butt.
Oh, it will, Riley. It will.
He's got everything. But I think, like Riley's totally right. I mean, what you've watched of it, Tegan, how'd you find?
Yeah. I went into it with like a mindset where I was like, I'm not going to like this. I hate League.
Yeah.
It's just not going to interest me at all. I just watched it purely because my friend was watching it with me.
Yep.
But after the first like 3 episodes, I was already crying. And I barely cry at TV shows, and just the whole cinematography of it, it's just beautiful.
That Echo scene will never leave my mind. The one Echo fight with him and Jinx. That is 100% unreal.
With the stopwatch. Yes.
And yes. I was gonna say, I do believe it won. Was it? Oh. It wasn't. It was our animated series of the year.
I think it won like 84 million awards.
Yeah, it won so many different awards. Yes. I don't know. It was just, as someone who didn't like League, it kind of got me interested in
League.
In League, yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what happened to me. I'd never played it before. Well, no, okay, I lie. I've played it a couple of times. The show came out, thought it was utter perfection. Everything about it was just so damn good. Really excited. I think they announced that it was the second season was for late 2024, so we're only about a year out from
that was a recent announcement, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was a recent announcement. So I'm super excited about that. But yeah, that show got me into the game too.
I really want to rewatch it all too.
Oh yeah,
but yeah,
I think I've watched it 3 times completely. It's Tony, I know that you've never probably going to touch League yourself, but it's definitely worth a watch. You don't need to know anything about the game. It treats you like you know nothing about it. That's fine. You don't need to.
Yeah, look, I'll consider it, Sammy. I'm not much... Did you say it was anime?
It's an animated...
Anime, no.
Animation or anime?
It's like water painting, almost.
Cel-shaded?
No, not like Borderlands sort of thing, no. More like... have you seen anything to do with the Spider-Verse series?
No.
No, okay. Well, another one that's won plenty of awards and been a fantastic movie. Very much like that show, if you have a look at the artist direction of that one.
It's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I when I get some spare time, I might give it a try, and I'll see. I'll let you know what I think of it.
Definitely, would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, Tegan, I suppose I'm interested in someone who, seriously didn't want to touch League of Legends.
Yeah.
What made you, get into it, and what do you say for people who are sort of similar to you who just have no interest? Is it worth getting into? Is it something that you're enjoying now?
Okay. Well, personally, I got into it because I'm someone who loves playing games with friends. I'm not like an alone game kind of person. So my friends kind of mostly just played League. Like, they kind of phased out of every other game I played. So they convinced me to download it and play with them. The first couple times I played, I was a bit confused. But they were helping me a lot But as someone who like never wanted to play it, you know, I am enjoying it.
Yeah.
I hate to say. It does make me really angry, but it's a good way to kind of let out your stress. So if anyone like was like me before that said they'll never touch it, I'd say give it a chance. Like you can always uninstall it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't cost you anything to download.
Yeah. But I also feel like people do say they'll never download it or they hate it and stuff when they've never tried it. It's because it's like a meme.
Yep.
People hate League of Legends players. And I was kind of sucked into that group where I was like, I'm never going to touch it because I never want to be one of those people.
Yep.
That's fair.
So it's a very generalized group.
So you feel like if someone was to give it a go, you know, I suppose it's worthwhile for them to have a go at it instead of just, you know, just being stubborn about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends on the person, to be honest.
Yep.
Because, you know, you might hate it. So, yeah, it really depends. Like, I wouldn't enjoy it if I was playing it alone. Yeah. But it's because I am playing with friends that I am enjoying it.
Yeah, I have tried it. Like, I have downloaded it and given it a go, but honestly, it's just all too much for me. There's so much.
There's so much happening.
To learn.
Mechanics are insane in this game.
Yeah. And there's just so many different items and heroes,
characters.
Yeah, it's just honestly
something like over 200 now, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it would take a lot of investment to get into it, and I don't feel like I really have that time available.
Yeah, I'm never going to be that serious about it. Like I was with like Valorant and Overwatch, and just doing it purely to play with friends.
Yeah, which is why I thought ARAMs might be a bit, maybe
enjoyable.
something that's a bit more casual.
Yeah,
definitely is.
Yeah, and maybe a bit easier to learn because there's not so much going on.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot going on, but it does make you learn. It's like dropping you in the deep end, learn to swim sort of situation.
Yep.
Sink or swim.
Sink or swim. That sounds right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's. Is there anything else to add on League of Legends?
No, I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, final segment. Just have a look back at our Game of the Year. I suppose predictions. We all sort of gave some thoughts last time. What I thought we'd do, I've listed, I think maybe 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
If we can each give it a 1 or 2 vote.
Okay.
So yeah, basically the games, you probably won't remember these, but I threw in basically the games that sort of people are putting up there for Game of the Year. So first one's Jedi Survivor.
1.
No, I'll come around to you. Hang on, 1. That's your 1 is your valuable vote, Sam.
Oh, look, 2. Oh, okay. So 1's good, 2's bad. Gotcha.
1 and 2 are both good. It's just 1's the best, 2's second best because there's a few games here.
Okay.
Jedi Survivor.
Yep.
Remnant 2. Final Fantasy 16. Of course, Legend of Zelda. New entry from last time we chatted is Baldur's Gate 3. Armored Core 6 and Starfield.
Really? Armored Core 6 has gone up there already, has it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, in the talk for it, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Who wants to give their 1 and 2 first?
Do we just say what game we think is going to be number 1?
Yeah.
Legends of Zelda.
Okay.
I still think it will be.
Yeah. And
probably will be.
What about what's your second vote?
Baldur's Gate.
Baldur's Gate. All right, Riley.
I'm pretty sure I played every game on that list. And any other year, I would so many of those games I would say deserve it because I think this has been a stacked year. But for me, it was Tears of the Kingdom. Definitely
Number
fell in
one?
love with that when I first played it. But now it's Baldur's Gate, hands down. I have sunk 150 hours into that game since it came out, which is
Oh,
unhealthy
wow, really?
amount. Yeah.
Oh,
My best mate and I actually finished the game today. We did a co-op run of the whole game, and it was a great experience. I'm pretty sure he said, as the credits were rolling, he's like top 5 all time, because
wow.
it was really something. The amount you can do in that game, it rewards you for every decision you make, whether that is a bad decision or not. There's always like new content locked behind it. So definitely my number one, Baldur's Gate. It probably
Yeah, I
won't
feel
win,
like-
but
I feel like there's almost a groundswell happening for it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Whether it's a better game than Legend of Zelda or other games on that list, there's just a real groundswell around it, and I feel like it may come out on top just based on everything that's happening around it.
well,
What about you? What about you, Sam?
I'm the same as Tegan. Zelda number 1, Baldur's Gate number 2. Huge respect to the Baldur's Gate team. It's a phenomenal game. Never deserved any of the hate that it was getting from other devs, saying that we shouldn't be expecting that level of game creation from any sort of dev team. I think that's an absolute joke.
it's pretty low ball.
It is, and the polish on it's meant. I mean, Riley, you're playing it. I'm watching most of it because It's not like Dungeons and Dragons, that sort of thing. Not my type of game, but I've been watching it and thoroughly enjoying what I've been watching.
Yeah, I've been watching my friends play it.
There you go. Yeah, so everyone's doing the same thing, and you can. This is a game you can watch and enjoy a lot.
Yeah, a lot of it is like a movie, I suppose. So there's that.
Yeah. So, Sammy, was that number 1 Baldur's Gate for you, and 2 Legend of Zelda?
Opposite around now. Zelda number 1. Yeah. I still think Zelda's got in the bag because Nintendo got it in Nintendo, and they just smashed it out of the park with that game.
They know what they're doing.
They do. Yeah. They do. As soon as they bring it to PC, they're going to make a whole lot of money.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda?
Yeah, if they do ever. I just mean like they will make so much money if they bring it onto PC. I swear.
This is Nintendo, Sam.
Yes, I know. I realize what I'm saying out loud, and it sounds so dumb because they'll never do it.
But if they do,
if they ever do like what Sony's done and bent the knee, they will. I mean, for instance, just recently, probably in the last 2 months or so, I played Ratchet and Clank on PC. So was it called Torn Apart
Rift
or something like that?
Rift Apart. Yeah.
Thank you. And I tell you what, I haven't played Ratchet and Clank in a number of years, and that was such a fun experience to play on PC. Such a good experience. I highly recommend playing it. It's just, it felt like a new game, being able to aim with a mouse. Everything felt more fluid. The story was great, but that was awesome. That is awesome. Nintendo, get on it.
Yeah, I just can't see it happening, but yeah, it would be a smart business decision, that's for sure.
100%.
Now, I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3s. It's turn-based RPGs aren't really my thing, but I understand that everyone's in love with it. I still think Zelda will take it out, but I am thinking that, as I said before, the groundswell of Baldur's Gate 3 may bring it up. So I'm going to go my 1 for Zelda, and I'm going to go my 2 for Remnant 2.
Sleeper.
Be a little bit different. Remnant 2 is amazing. I don't know if any of you guys have played it, but Souls-like to a degree, but I wouldn't say it's as hard as the Souls games. But the atmosphere, the setting, the graphics, the gameplay, yeah, I love it. Absolutely in love with it.
Yeah, barely touched that one, but I got to say, I didn't play Remnant 1, but it's so fun to play a Souls-like with shooter elements. It's just really cool.
Yeah, so much different to those games, but really tough boss battles, but fair.
Yeah.
Anytime you die, you feel like that was your fault. Nothing cheap about it. So yeah, I'm going to say that's my number 2. But basically what we have come up with here is that Legend of Zelda will be the game of the year.
I'll put money on it.
With Baldur's Gate coming in second.
Most likely.
Yeah.
We're all satisfied with that?
Yeah, I think Baldur's Gate's probably going to win a few other categories.
I'm sure it will.
100%.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
But I think if you asked, like a month ago, a lot of people would be thinking that Starfield would be up there, but it's interesting that none of us mentioned it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think Starfield's going to be a slow burn. I really feel like it's going to get better and better and better. I just think it's going to take a while for it to get there.
We did say that about Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Well, Cyberpunk has got better, hasn't it?
And it will get a lot better this upcoming month with the new DLC.
Yeah, that's true. The new DLC, yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that they stuck to their guns to fix what was, a bit of a shambles.
100%.
With Cyberpunk. But yeah, that's in a pretty good place now, and yeah, it's only going to get better with the new expansion. But yeah, I do really feel like Starfield's got good structure, and I feel like it's going to be a game that people play for a long time. Once it improves. But look, I'm saying improve, but I love it. I'm really enjoying it. I'm spending a lot of time in it. I know you are too, Riley, and some of our other friends are really putting some hours into it.
Yeah, it's got a great skeleton of a game, and mods will just expand on that. Really look forward to what the game looks like in a couple of years as well, with all the mods and DLC.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, thank you, everyone. That's going to be the end of the show. Thank you for your time. It's very much appreciated. Hope you enjoyed your first podcast, Riley.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, that's all right, mate. No problems. Look, thank you very much. We will catch everyone in our next podcast. Thanks for listening. Cheers.